Do-rag wisdom here, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm in a celebratory mood today, as you know, because today finally the determined Democrats finally not dithering on impeachment. Yesterday was Y2K 19.09.24, and today that was the historic day. Remember that date, the 24th of September. And today, the 25th, I'm basking. They've finally done it. Well, he's finally done it. See, I know how the bullies operate because I fought them my entire life and not always successfully. I got scars all over this old body from traumatized shit with bullies. Now we have one who's the accidental president of our country. And Trump is your typical schoolyard bully. Except he's president of the United States, the accidental president, as I said before. He will do whatever he can to victimize others under the guise of saying, I'm joking. Bullies don't joke. They don't have that. They use that as an excuse if they've been making fun of somebody, persecuting somebody, verbally at this point ganging up on somebody, getting other people to gang up on them, and they say, I was only joking. Bullies don't have senses of humor. Bullies lie. Bullies are sociopaths. Bullies will always try to push you. They're going to push you to the extreme. They're going to see how far they can get away with it. Because at heart, a bully is a coward. In most cases. The softer you are on bullies, the more aggressive they become. Kindness is weakness. When they bring a symbolic knife, you must bring a symbolic gun. When the bully puts one of yours in a symbolic hospital, you must put four of his in a symbolic morgue. I credit the movie The Untouchables as spoken by the character Malone, played by Sean Connery. The Democrats waited until the very last minute to do their jobs on this, because this creep, this Nazi creep, has been violating the Constitution. He's been violating us from day freaking before one. Reality show maggot. Up to now, the Democrats were dithering. Now they are finally determined. Yes, impeachment will drive a bigger and sharper wedge between the people of our country, sadly. Yes, the Trumpist Nazi Party holding the Senate will probably not impeach their king fiend. But the House must do its constitutional duty, or else see future presidents attempting the same abuses as this orange monster Trump is doing. We have a separation of powers. And Trump and Putin and the Hitlers before him all want to undermine constitutional law. They want to rule alone. Absolute, with the power of life and death. The Nazi Trump, for his part, as bullies always do, pushed and pushed. He dared the Democrats with that line on the street, or the one in the sand that you are not supposed to cross, or unless you want to get hurt. And finally, with the explosion of the Ukraine whistleblower, because hey, how many times can you get a wedgie in the hallway, or have them slap you around, or try to embarrass you in front of their friends and the few that maybe you may have? You can't take it anymore. You have to stand up. So you finally do. And this is the case with the Democrats and this Ukraine whistleblower scandal. Ukraine Gate. The Democratic Party has finally found its spine. Yes, I would rather have Trump voted out. Sure. he was voted in. I don't want to overturn what the voters supposedly wanted. Whether this creep won the popular vote or not, he didn't. But this creep is committing crimes against our Constitution and thinks that he's getting away with it. There are 65 million or so fanatic Trump supporters who represent the 35% of the people in our country who support the Nazis. And they're going to be filled with partisan rage. You think 35% or 40% is a minority, 65 million people. And they're all going to go be at the polls voting. They're not going to dither like the people on the left will do if, say, Joe Biden is picked at the end. I don't want him to be picked. I don't want corn popped to be picked. But I'll vote for him if I have to, because better him than a dictator, a traitorous fiend, a Nazi dictator, a racist bastard. These people that support the Nazi Trump, the Trump sewer is going to tap into them with their massive, well-funded propaganda and lie machine. As the host of a popular reality TV program, the Nazi Trump birther knows which buttons to push, especially the one that teaches you to tell a lie enough so it becomes the truth. That's Nazi propaganda minister Goebbels. The Democrats, for their part, must become teachers. We're impeaching. I was a teacher. Be teachers. They must explain exactly what they are doing every step of the way. 65 million people. That is quite a lot. The impeachment hearings should be televised during peak viewing hours, even if they're not live. Tape them and show them at night. Reality show. That's what people understand nowadays in this invasion of the body snatcher pod world. Reality shows. Televise these hearings every single day. They have to be public, open, and these Democrats must explain them. And I've talked about this before in a previous broadcast. Sorry for repeating. Democrats must return to their districts, which they're going to be doing soon, and instruct their aides to have as many town halls as they can schedule. They must be ready to explain and to bait their constituents. Stand there for 4 or 5, I don't know how many hours, 8 hours. Stand there and debate with your constituents as long as you must do to try to get them to your side. If anything, tell them, if they're so conservative, to support Bill Weld. That guy's a true conservative, a true GOP. I wouldn't want a President Weld, but if I had a choice between a President Weld and a Nazi Trump, I would rather have a President Weld. He's really a Republican, a GOP. But personally, I'd rather have a President Warren or a President Sanders or a President Booker or a President Castro or President Harris. We are in a dangerous cold civil war for the survival of our country. I have no questions about Nazi Trump's criminality. We all went to sleep in Y2K16 and allowed a thug into our holy of holies, our body politic. There is absolutely no debate regarding the Trump fecal ball. He is unfit to be president of our country and should not even be allowed to run for re-election. I know in the wings we have a religious extremist creep. More about that creep Pence later. Tragically, the Trumpist Party is working overtime to normalize their king's obscenities. We cannot normalize this crap, folks. You have friends, enemies, for their own sake. The conservatives, again, weld. They're so conservative. This and many other thoughts should occupy the Democratic Party as they press on toward ridding our country of the Trump cancer. They must be clear and they must be thorough, but most importantly, they must make their case before our nation by respecting the intelligence and never assuming that we would never be interested to learn. I was a public school teacher for 28 years in the New York City school system. It is time for our Democratic political leaders to be teachers too. I've said this before in another broadcast. On this dangerous road, that even with its hazardous twists and curves and turns that could hurl us over a cliff into nothingness, into death, they, the teachers, will eventually lead us back on a road to this true democracy. We're still a democratic constitutional republic on our way to democracy, true democracy. Take to your streets, friends. Write to your Congress people. Volunteer to do some broadcasts on my page if you want. Shut off the reality TV shows and be engaged in this fight for our country's life. Impeach, indict, imprison the perniciously evil creep Nazi Trump who was accidentally flushed into our free country. Finally, the victims of this bullying creep are standing